Boy, okay, this XP stuff has my brain turning right now. So,
Yeah.
Chris, can you tell us more about how the way your protocol works?
Uh, sh- yeah, sure. Essentially, what it does, it's a single sketch right now. You loaded the Arduino. I have a it's all written in modular format. I've got a module that controls 5 sensors on it right now. And what I call it XNP for XP Network Protocol. Essentially, what you can do is send 32-byte packets to any router in the network. Every Arduino Mega, and hopefully a smaller unit later, has its own name. So you could give each Arduino a name, give each robot a name, if you will, and then have the core Arduino, or whatever your controller is, just send the packet to that robot telling it what to do. And inside the 32-byte header, you can have a command, you can have whatever you want in there. And with the protocol, you just, inside the loop, there's a read function, and if a packet comes in, it dumps it into your function. There's 4 variables: the source, the destination, the payload, and the serial, and you can just look at the payload, see what command it is, and run it. So each robot, you could literally send multiple different commands and have it do different things. The robot wouldn't even need to have any intelligence. It would just need to wait for the commands, and the controller would just sit there, and you could, like with a joystick, walk it around. That's theoretical. Right now the protocol is certainly fast enough. I just got to make it smaller. With all the logging stripped down, it's about 30K in the Mega, and there's lots of SRAM left. There's over 2 or 3K of unused SRAM. I don't have a good memory function to tell me exactly, but it's got error correction. It sends heartbeats to each. The core sends heartbeats to each router and the network every few seconds to make sure it's there, and it keeps network stats about availability and packet loss and all that.
Wow. How did you figure out? Yes, I'm still here. Okay, how did you figure out how to make this?
I do network management for a living.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I understand network protocols pretty well, and I'm new into the electronics hobby more than anything else. But to me, I got frustrated because I wanted to be able to talk to all my wireless routers in the network without using the Wi-Fi channels, using my own radios, and there wasn't anything good out there that I could find in terms of like a program that allowed XPs just to send data back and forth. So I ended up writing one.
Are you in?
It's been fun.
Are you are you in API mode?
API mode
on the XPs.
Gee, I don't even know how to answer that question. I used the example on Lady Ada's site for sending data back and forth from the Arduino on the radio. They all have the same PAN IDs.
Okay,
I just set them. I set I set the Arduino, the XP to have the sensor turned on, so it's always, I guess, looking for something, and then I reverse the pins between serial 1 on the Mega and the XP radio. I use Lady Ada's XP kit, which is really nice and simple, and then you end up with a little, I don't know how good this will be, but a little, basically that's my own Mega shield. Hang on, let me see. My camera sucks, but the XP actually connects out the bottom because just for my Wi-Fi routers, it'll be easier that way for me to handle it, and that's it. It just works. In terms of, I can program it right now. I just have one on my computer and trying to add features and whatnot. I got round trip stats on there now, so I can see how fast the packets take for ping and whatnot.
Whoa.
It's about 300 milliseconds right now.
What? Really? That long?
What's that?
300
right now because it's in debug mode. Yeah, I got lots of debug. Because when I turn it all off, it'll be probably a lot faster. I haven't tested it at speed yet, but hopefully I can get it down to less than 100 milliseconds.
Yeah.
It's not just a fire and forget. It actually has error correction and redundancy in that when every command you send gets loaded into a tiny packet buffer, and it waits for the acknowledgement. If the acknowledgement from the destination doesn't come back, it will resend the packet up to 5 times until the destination acknowledges it or it times out and gives up. So the buffers take a little bit of space, and there's other control code I had to put in there for it. But it's like a really, really simple TCP/IP, but has no security, and you can run it over any serial port. It's like you're connected to a modem that runs a 57.6 or an XP radio. It really doesn't depend on XPs. It just is an input-output data stream, really. So I guess I don't know about much about I2C, but maybe that could work.
Wow. Awesome protocol. You rock. Oh, wow.
We'll see. We'll see if it really works well in the real world when if other people try it out and see how it works in production.
I like how you don't use API mode because API mode sucks.
No, I don't use API mode. I've confirmed that now.
Yeah.
I stay out of that. It's just raw XB mode, like a radio.
Nice. That's so cool. Wow. Everyone, please just bask in the moment of wowness here.
I got to make it a lot smaller. It's configurable like right now. It depends on the number of radios in your network, but there are packet buffers. So every packet you send out keeps a copy of that packet in the buffer for X number of seconds, so it can resend it again if it needs to. And you can configure that from 3 or 4 packet buffers up to outbound buffers up to 12, say. And it consumes different amounts of memory. So if you have a mega with lots of memory, you can run it with lots of packet buffers. Or if you have a lot of radios, and we'll be sending a lot of packets from a radio, you might have more. So it's configurable in terms of that way. If I can get the memory way down in size, that'd be great.
Wow.
Pretty happy with it, but it's there's probably more debugging to do, more things people will find, I'm sure.
Sweet. What license will your protocol be licensed under?
It's free. I'm posting it on Adafruit's site. It's open source, so it'll just be free to the world. I hope people can try it out and use it and make use of it and find things I didn't do right, and we can improve it.
Public domain, BSD, or GPL?
At the risk of sounding like an idiot, I really wouldn't know which one would be best.
Okay, because the way...
I'll probably ask for input from people who know that a lot better than me.
The way you phrased it as just being like a protocol, like it doesn't have to be using XSpees, is really cool because I work on this Mac Arduino app things, Mac for Arduino app things, and
yeah,
its protocol right now is bad, right? It just sucks. And the problem is that sometimes there's these really cool things, but they're under GPL, and I can't use GPL because the way I distribute my apps is like, it's like made like DRM, but not really.
Right.
It's classified as DRM, so it'd be nice if you encourage redistribution but don't require it, because I'm sure people are gonna redistribute it anyway, like I do with mine, even though I distribute them on the App Store. But that's just my opinion, and you can do whatever you want with it, because I'll still use it in my XSpees anyway.
Thanks. I really haven't thought that far ahead about it, to be honest with you. That's an interesting thought, though. But yeah, I want other people to be able to try it out and see what it can do.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't want to be like the person like making people unsubscribe to GPL thinking, because I like redistribution, but I like DRM. It's just, you know, what. It's not my fault. So, okay, wow, people are gonna love your protocol. I love it already, and I haven't even used it.
Yeah, you can use it with a couple of megas just connected to each other. If you cross-connect the serials between megas, you don't need a radio.
Yeah, exactly.
You can just talk on whatever it needs, whatever you have to talk on.
Sweet.
Okay, thanks. This is cool. I like your show. This is great.
Thanks so much for telling all of your stuff. That's awesome.